Fucking ridiculous. Okay. Is he there? I don't know. If Senior Stomp comes to our country, he really needs to learn how to speak English. Yeah. All right, I'm pulling up the Cwcki right now. I know, but I need to be for my own. I can. All right. So where should we start? No, it says we're live, dude. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. It says here. Are we on the page on the stream? Okay. Uh, Reality is a concept that Chris desperately tries to avoid acknowledging. Instead retreating to the comfort of his imaginary world and hoping that reality will eventually bend to his whims. Many people with autism struggle to distinguish between reality and fantasy, but most make effort to reduce the impact on their lives. Chris, on the other hand, embraces his realm of fantasy, especially as escapism from stress, life responsibilities, and his bleak future, trapping himself in a feedback loop whereby his real world life and issues are further neglected while his devotion to his fantasies gets stronger. Oh boy. Yeah, we're in fucking. Literally. Of course, we've got Chris's perception of reality has been on a downward spiral for most of his life due to a lifetime of being coddled by his parents. Following the death of his father, Bob, in 2011, and amid the increasing infirmity of his mother, Barb, Chris was forced into shouldering more responsibilities which he was mentally ill-equipped to bear, and consequently he invested more heavily in magical beliefs as solutions to the problems presented by reality. 2017, the Idea Guys, trolls who utilized role-playing as Chris's imaginary friends, further exacerbated Chris's grasp of reality, giving validation to his fantasies and encouraging him to stay rooted in his fantasy world. A trend continued at present day by waves of enablers. Oh yeah. Oh no, there's no way now. There's no. We've seen them. I've seen them all. I mean, we are veteran Christorians here. Yeah. Oh, although autism is one major factor, his parents contributed a lot towards Chris's work perception of anyone or anything that antagonizes him. Bob and Barbara regularly fed Chris conciliatory platitudes about how he was mistreated out of jealousy and that special rules exist for the benefit of autistic people. Okay. The platitudes said Chris's all pervasive sense of entitlement, as well as his indiscriminate belief that anything bad that happened to him was a conspiracy, whether or not it was caused by his stupidity or stubbornness. Oh, well, I mean, we can't say it's all the parents' fault, but they definitely played a fucking part in this. There's no. All right, then we got psychological problems, which we know this man has a bunch. Um, okay, the only known formal diagnoses of Chris are autism, dating from when he was 5 or 6 years old, and gender dysphoria, officially diagnosed in 2016. Well, okay, the whole gender dysphoria thing, for a long time, nobody fucking bought it. We all thought that, oh, he was fucking doing it so he could sleep with lesbians. And that's literally what he was doing in the beginning. Yeah. Like nowadays, I actually kind of believe he has gender dysphoria. But Mewtwo. Yeah. I mean, I use music to definitely wind the fuck down, but like meditation, nah, come on. But we got Peter Pan syndrome. Peter Pan syndrome is a pop psychology term to describe those who are immature and refuse to grow up and accept adult responsibilities. Basically, it's what it sounds like. Chris has demonstrated this with his refusal to seek work, instead begging for money and ignoring his debts to afford more toys. An eyewitness to one of Chris's debt hearings noted that Chris was trying hard to revert to childhood based on how he made childish noises during his time in the courtroom and talked back to his mother in a childlike voice. The dimensional merge represents Chris's ultimate desire to hide from adult responsibilities, as he believes it will grant his wildest power fantasies and enable him to continue living like a child. Chris's devotion to rejecting adult life has warped his perception of reality, as he spent all of his free time playing make believe as if it were a religion. A common theory since the dimensional merge saga unfolded is that Chris may have schizophrenia. You think? Based on his maybe, but maybe. Right. Yeah. All right. Then Chris may have schizophrenia based on his rantings about his imaginary world as if he cannot distinguish between reality and fantasy. However, a closer look at Chris's rambling shows that he's capable of discerning the difference, but avoids it in order to preserve his escapist fantasies. Unlike a schizophrenic, Chris will distinguish between reality, or as he calls it, 1218, which, by the way, he got that from the Marvel Earth 1218, and a fantasy domain that I think he made himself, C197. Yeah, Okay, so we got Chris's behavior and beliefs, however, align at least somewhat with schizotypal personality disorder, which is thought to exist on a spectrum with schizophrenia, with him matching at least 6 of the 9 diagnostic criteria in the DSM-5. Ideas of reference, believing that certain generally innocuous events hold special meaning or messages for oneself, strange beliefs or magical thinking that influences behavior and is inconsistent with subcultural norms, abnormal perceptual experiences, including bodily illusions, suspiciousness or paranoid ideation, strange behavior or appearance, excessive social anxiety that does not diminish with familiarity and tends to be associated with paranoid fears rather than negative judgments about self, whilst Chris was largely uncomfortable around his paid for companions during high school. His interaction with both the fairer sex and the pickle bearers have since been riddled with paranoid fears and delusions. The last 3 symptoms, however, strange thinking of speech, lack of close friends, and inappropriate or constricted affect, whilst also present in Chris, can almost exclusively attributed to his autism, much like his narcissism. Also, schizotypal individuals generally do not develop the grandiose delusions he has developed over the years and are generally reclusive. So further digging than internet armchair analysis is required, which Chris, of course, will likely never receive, thanks to his adamant refusal to seek out help voluntarily or benefit from professional help that is forced upon him. Oh, boy. Yeah. As the JR guy here, I really don't know either. Oh, yes. I don't even think at this point. Well, no, no, no. I'm saying, let's say he got out. Let's say he got even tried. There's no way. There's no way. Especially with his record. On him is no. Oh no. Oh no, man. Come on. I need another drink. Come on. Hold on. All right. 1 second. Oh, I'm not looking. I know it. I gotta put up my next mountain. Okay. Hey, oh, man. Ooh, nectar of the gods. Yes, sir. Okay. So we got escapist fantasies. Chris, prevalent in the years following the September 2011 death of his father, after which Chris found himself thrust into the world of adult responsibilities as he had to do tasks such as pay bills and help take care of his mother and pets. Chris was 29 years old when his father passed. While most people would be accustomed to dealing with responsibilities by that age, Chris was unprepared for the burden since his parents had sheltered him up to that point. For example, until he died, Chris had managed his father managed Chris's bank account due to his fiscal responsibility. Now I have to do a Chris impression. All right. When my father was alive, I had more freedom. Now that he had passed, I lost a lot of freedom and remained to take after the task he had left behind. You can only escape in your mental depths and recluse for so long before you are pulled back to reality. And too many things leave you feeling like you get little peace at home. Chris. Chris occasionally whined on social media about his position and no, there wasn't. Chris occasionally whined on social media about his position and having to help take care of his mother and pets. His statements gradually revealing more of his retreat into escapist fantasies. In September 2012, he complained, "Everybody else gets to go out for a fun and good time, and I'm stuck caregiving my mother and our dogs. It is very stressful." Oh, boo-hoo, brother. Okay. In January 2013, Chris was hoping for a sweetheart to rescue him from his life. Oh, learn. He doesn't learn. I need my sweetheart to be to make me happy. My heart hurts literally from my depression and wait, what? I can hear you, bro. For me or just you? Okay. I need my sweetheart to make me happy. My head hurts literally from my depression and loneliness. Serving my mother is not a final purpose to me, and my social life is very slim. I feel like I lack
Oh,
direction in
there
my
we
life as
go.
well.
Now I gotta turn myself back up. So
Okay. Now you got that next caption under the sweetheart to be fucking shit.
we had to be a bit ghetto. I'm sorry, because I don't have two monitors, so I'm.
All right, you got where it starts with by summer 2017.
Thank you to my friend Simply Weeb for letting me know that I was not audible on stream. Shout out to him. If you like anime, go check out his channel. Very good stuff. Thank you so much to my boy. Okay, where were we at?
Where it says by summer 2017.
I see it. By summer 2017, Chris was immersed in his escapism to the point that he was dancing with Magi-chan, one of his imaginary friends at BronyCon. In October of that year, from his list of reasons for refusing to get a job, half involved his devotion to his fantasies. I had a ton and shitload of responsibilities and worries here at home, caretaking my mother, dogs, cats, and to my own passions of my electric hedgehog Pokemon family, my city of Quickville, and my only me psychic connection to my friends, my family there in that dimension. So I'll be damned if I do not already have a full enough plate. Yeah, okay, Chris. uh,
Chris's des- Chris's desires to be rescued from reality. Fuck, I need a drink. Jesus Christ. Fucking goddamn.
yeah,
All right.
I wish
I
I
think
had
I'm
some
licking up.
alcohol with me too, if I'm being honest. But
I'm doing it the hard way, dude.
yeah,
Straight.
you're just
Let's
shooting
go.
straight at this point. I don't blame you
Yeah.
one bit.
Chris's desire to be rescued from reality left him desperate for his fantasies to be validated. His mentality similar to people to join cult. Damn.
Simply Weeb in chat
Damn.
says he's so elegant with his words. Very true. Yeah.
This led to be Chris exploited by a number of trolls, with the most infamous being the idea guys. Chris would only continue to retreat further and further into his elaborate alternate reality he has constructed in his mind. While under arrest for sexually assaulting.
Oh, no. I don't want to talk about what happened with Barb, man. That shit was
Oh,
disgusting.
bruh.
Oh,
Remember
my
that?
God.
Him already, but remember that scene from the Night of the Living Dead? You're like, they're coming to get you, Barbara. That, like, dude, they are. They are.
Your son's coming to get you, Barbara. Oh, that's
Chris
awful.
showed seriousness of the situation he was in and gave a long spiel to the responding police officers about Sonichu, his statue as a supreme goddess and a dimensional bird. Currently, as Chris sits in prison awaiting trial, he has now chosen to believe that he is also the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Which, according to the Cwcki, it has been about 13 days since Chris has claimed to be Jesus Christ.
because there used to be Simply We've just commented a bunch of vomit emojis after we talked about Barb, like what happened between Chris and Barb. And, okay, so there used to be a counter, and it was like a counter of, it was like how many days since Chris applied for a job, and a few other things, and now it's how many days Chris has been in jail, and how many days
He's
it's
about
been.
116, I believe.
Yeah, but it's a counter for jail and a counter for how many days it's been since the last time he claimed to be.
What's
Jesus.
the count for the last time he's begged for money?
That was it. It was applied for a job, begged for money, and there was one other one, I forget what it was. But now it's how many days he's been in jail and how many days it's been since the last time he claimed to be Jesus. Anyway, Cult of the Idea guys. On October 25th, 2017. Oh, wait, I need to read the quote, don't I? I feel the need to thank them for adding more connection between our sister dimension and I. Chris on the Idea guys retaining his cultist mentality several months after they'd been ousted. Yep, like I said, Chris just took, or the Idea guys just took Chris's grasp on reality and just yanked it out of him with extreme prejudice. On October 25th, 2017, Joshua Wise, the first of a duo that would later be dubbed the Idea Guys, contacted Chris initially as an experiment to gauge Chris's gullibility. Wise began a plot to manipulate Chris into believing that Wise had made it into Quickville's dimension, drawing from his experience in role-playing communities and borrowing lore from video game and anime series. Or from the video game and anime series Hyperdimension Neptunia.
There it is again, bruh.
Yep, we're already back at Hyperdimension Neptunia. Wise crafted an elaborate narrative which included edited image graphics, doctored audio clips such as Red Forest, and role-playing as Chris's imaginary friends. Chris, by this point in his life, desperate for his fantasies to be validated, eagerly accepted Wise's claims. This
Of course, he
associate.
fuck.
Yep. This is where it gets really, really, really fucking weird. Okay. The association between Wise and Chris morphed into a cult leader and devout follower. Wise, taking advantage of Chris's desire for validation, brainwashed his beliefs on Quickville and his imaginary friends by claiming Quickville, or such as by claiming Quickville to be occupied by Nazis. I remember that. That
Yeah.
that Rose Chu is a transgender woman and that Chris is married to his imaginary friends, with Chris accepting it as fact. And that's funny because it was always like, Rose Chu does not have a pickle.
Dude, forever it was that. It was exactly that. Like,
Yeah, Chris would,
I'm just slow down. I'm starting to get buzzed here. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, slow down a bit. All right, you take the next paragraph. This is a lot.
Wait, second idea, guys. Stephen Boyd joined with Wise. Together, the two exploited their influence over Chris and had him make false statements for blackmail purposes and conned Chris into giving them thousands of dollars under threats if they would destroy Quickville and release the blackmail material if he failed to comply. Okay, this is fucked, dude.
Yeah, the idea guys were complete pieces of shit. I would say, these guys they didn't make Isabella Janke look necessarily like tamer by comparison, but they definitely made Julie look like a fucking saint. They made Blue Spike look like he was the fucking good guy in the situation.
No. And no one's gonna say anything Blue Spike did was good. No one's gonna say that.
No.
Okay. Their activities caught the attention of people in Chris's inner circle, who formed a group later known as the Guard Dogs, counteract the idea guys, and removed them from power. However, even after the ousting, and though the Guard Dogs tried to encourage him to seek therapy at Region 10, Chris still retained most of the beliefs the idea guys had brainwashed into him over the 6 months they were in power. Guard Dog Marvin explained to Chris' perspective.
Marvin is the man in the pickle suit, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
So Marvin turned out to be a guard dog? Like, he's on his side now?
Yep, the man in the... Well, not on his side,
Good.
but, trying to prevent Chris from going insane. He thought it was funny to fuck with Chris. And
like watching out for him a little bit. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, reality is a malleable concept to Chris. I guess that's how you say that. To Chris, that these losers were pretending to be imaginary characters doesn't mean that they didn't unwittingly connect with their counterparts in the other dimension or whatever. So yeah, he thinks Wise and Boyd were assholes who stumbled upon some magic or some shit. Chris is mostly mad about money first and being made to embarrass himself second. That's never a good thing. In regards to why he still maintains a lot of their canon, it's because Chris is too invested in his imaginary world to give up on it so easily. I think after Wise and Boyd were outed, he felt really uncomfortable about retconning most of their changes. Because if he retcons the past 6 months, then fuck, why can't he retcon all of it? Then that would make him feel really uneasy about the possible reality of his imaginary world. That reality is most important to him.
Indeed.
The post-Idea Guys era ignited a wave of enablers who sought to use the Idea Guys tactics to worm their way into Chris's life. For a few months, the guard dogs attempted to protect Chris by screening his messages for him. However, given Chris's refusal to address his psychological weaknesses and willingness to find others to play make-believe with, the enablers eventually broke past their defenses, leading to the guard dogs washing their hands of Chris. The Teen Troon Squad in fall 2008, MKR Night V in winter 2009, and Sockness. Oh, no!
I think Sockness is our next article. Sockness is our next article. That guy's a whole fucking story in himself.
This man is a danger. This man is extremely dangerous for Chris.
Oh,
there's I don't support Chris Chan after what he did, but keep him the fuck away from Sockness. He's going to do something terrible to him.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll go into that because I think Sockness will be our next article because he's fucking.
Great. Like, you guys think Chris is fucked. Sockness is a different breed, my guy.
Oh yeah.
Different breed. Anyway, and a myriad of other enablers took turns role playing with Chris and enabling his fantasies in exchange for his attention. In addition, using lore brute forced into his head by the idea guys, Chris declared himself to be a goddess. CPU Blue Heart. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
And
There we
it's
go.
about the dimensional merge, further intensifying the cult vibes of his beliefs.
Oh. All right.
Oh,
Consequences. Beyond making a
god
fool of
damn.
himself, Chris's poor grasp on reality has compelled him to self-harm. Fall for conman, that's a typo. Exploiting his beliefs and causing damage to his home. Late onset gender dysphoria is a psychological disorder describing those who identify with another gender over their own and can present the desire to be rid of their primary sex characteristics and prefer those of the other gender. Like with everything else in life, Chris sought out magical thinking to treat his gender dysphoria. In March 2016, he discovered subliminal frequency hypnosis, a collection of music tracks on YouTube
Oh shit.
claiming to, among other things, magically grant larger breasts and transform a penis into a vagina. Chris's confirmation bias
Oh.
over his breasts increasing, crediting it to the mysticism instead of his gynecomastia and poor measuring of his chest, led him to believe the claims made by this channel were true. He pursued the penis vagina transformation and began to prod his taint under the impression that there was a hidden vagina in there. Oh no, I know what's coming. Through the subliminal channel, though the subliminal channel claimed the transformation would take 6 months, Chris eventually lost patience. In July 2016, he grabbed a knife and made a self-inflicted taint wound in effort to free his vagina. Chris's devotion to the delusion was so potent he initially resisted efforts to be coerced by fans to pressure him into going to the hospital, though he eventually wore down and admitted it was a wound and obeyed treatment instructions.
Hey, well, okay, and now we got con artists. Yeehaw!
Yeah,
We got
you got the long end of the stick here, buddy.
oh, okay. Okay. Well, Chris has long been taken advantage of by trolls, going on fucking there's gonna be 20 years before you know it. The tactics and goals of the likes of the idea guys and Jacob Sockness, Jesus Christ, surpass the typical catfishing for content. Like, you ever seen that show Catfish? It goes way farther than that in here. Okay. The idea guys gradually built up a strong psychological hold over Chris by affirming his fantasies and playing along with them, to the point where Chris had full faith over anything they told him. Then they used their influence to con Chris at a $6,000 booth by threatening to blow up Quickfill with a moon laser. If he failed to comply, manipulated him into punching his mother and had him make videos slapping himself in the face and shitting on the floor. Things became even darker when the idea guys.
That hurt. I shit on the floor voluntarily, so I mean, if the idea guys want to give me money to shit on the floor, I'm out here for legal reasons. That's a joke, YouTube.
Things became even darker when the idea guys threatened to falsely report Chris as a pedofork to the FBI if he stopped supplying them with vast sums of money, consoles, and games, thus deepening the financial crisis. This isn't even the first time they tried to make Chris admit to being a pedofork, which I don't think he necessarily is, but they're just trying to get him in trouble.
Yeah, they're just trying to fuck with him at this point.
Yes. There's no direct evidence that Chris is a pedofork, but You
Yeah,
never know.
here
Right.
we go. You got Sockness now. I guess maybe you didn't get the long end
We
of the
got
stick.
Jacob
Sorry, buddy.
Stockness. Following the example set by the idea guys, nearly succeeded in manipulating Chris into a sexual relationship, holding the dimensional merge over his head and faking a conversation with Chris's imaginary friends to convince him that they should meet and consider marriage. Yes, this happened. Though
That did happen.
both
Oh,
the idea and Sockness were eventually ousted by people countering their role playing with their own. Yeah, that's a new level of toxic. Chris has failed to learn and continue to leave the gates to his imaginary realm open to anyone who will validate his fantasies further.
yep. Sounds about right to
Now
me.
you get a short but sweet one. You get property damage.
My hands have punched that wall more than once in the past, yes, but it was part of a sequence of events and practice of physically breaking the threads of this iron curtain veil. Oh, that's right.
Jesus,
Chris
what a
calls
Soviet Union fucking reference.
Chris
God.
calls the dimensional border the Iron Curtain, seemingly oblivious as to what the actual Iron Curtain was. Uh,
You're right.
uh,
It's not communism over Europe in the fucking 70s and 80s, you know.
no, no. As of July 2021, a bathroom in the Chandler home has damage to the drywall from being punched in. Chris has stated that he punched the wall in order to physically break the Iron Curtain, a term for his dimensional barrier between reality and his fantasy dimension C197. A video showing the punched-in wall. So yeah, you got the screenshot, and Chris going full Kyle mode, just punching his drywall out. Just mom said I couldn't have a monster and listen to Five Finger Death Punch at max volume at 5 a.m. Just
I
yeah.
love Five Finger wife beating. That's my favorite.
I think you mean Five Finger Drywall Punch. All right.
Or okay, we're not. It's not like we're getting monetized anyway. What about Five Finger Throat Fuck? That's some stupid shit.
Fantasy and fiction. Here we go.
You think that comic character wouldn't have its own thoughts and feelings? Chris's question of Alec Benson Leary. No, Alec's response. You are naive.
Do we have naive? That was Chris's least favorite word for a long time because he thought it meant stupid.
By the time that the internet first discovered him, circa 2007, Chris already held beliefs that Quickville and his imaginary friends were real, and that he had the power to curse people. Since then, as a maladaptive coping mechanism for his real world life crumbling around him, Chris gradually took on larger scale fantasies such as parallel dimensions. And as you can see here, there's a picture. There's a fantastic image of
That's a great
Chris
artist rendition of
in the good old padded room at the mental hospital.
an
And it says
autist rendition, if you will.
one day it did happen.
Yep.
Now we got Quickville. Oh, I love talking about Quickville. Yes, sir.
Sonichu,
All right.
man, that's the draw.
All right. Quickville is original vision of an
chat,
imaginary.
Let me know if I'm still audible or not. I'm freaking out.
I can
Okay,
hear you.
Good.
Anyway, Quickville is Chris's original vision of an imaginary and idyllic fantasy world where everything is built around his comfort and convenience, and where he enjoys great power with scant responsibility. Chris believes that Quickville is real and uses the city as a way to escape from a world that does not give Chris what he wants. Quickville was originally an infill city within the state of Virginia, but it became part of the larger C197 dimension when Chris started toying with the dimensional merge. All of Chris's characters are aware that Chris is the creator of their reality. So Chris is God in this world, right?
Wait, but he's also Sonichu's father, kind of, not really, but sort of, right?
Yeah, but doesn't that make Sonichu the son of God?
Sonichu is Jesus! Sonichu, Jesus confirmed! 2022, baby!
Sonichu and Roshu both refer to him as father, in much the same way a Christian might consider God to be his or her creator. It is unknown if the comic exists in the universe of Quickville. Chris believes his characters possess the the free will to make their own decisions, and that he is not responsible for their actions. This is how various events, both major and minor, such as Sonichu and Rosechu's wedding, the birth of their children, Kel's romance with
Nate
Nate,
Cirque. Nate Cirque
Nate's,
is like the anti-Chris from Sonichu, and the
and,
name is Christian spelled backwards.
and
And
even Bubbles and Blake's wedding are said to actually happen off screen instead of just being a spur of the moment throwaway plot element that Chris is too lazy to depict. Without prior explanation, Chris made a spoiler in his own comic that Magi-Chan will eventually get together with Sylvana, implying that in Chris's head this has already happened. It is Slawil Ryam, and which is Mary Lee
Mary
Walsh,
Lee
back
Walsh.
not Chris, who apologized for slandering Mary Lee Walsh. Chris once justified his refusal to write Simonia out of the comic by saying that she would not want to leave Quickville and that she and Wilde would fight for her right to stay. Chris considers everything drawn, written, or even said about Quickville to be canonical if he's the one stating it, regardless of contradictions, and feels it necessary to explain away undesirable changes to Quickville made as a result of outside influences like Billy May as
Yeah, you
mayor.
remember that? You remember it was like I think it was a mumble chat where Chris was talking to this one guy and he's like, "You have to say Billy Mays is the mayor of Quickville," and he was like, "I'm not gonna do it." And he's like, if you don't, we'll kill Sonichu or something." And he's like, "Billy Mays is the mayor of Quickville."
That same mumble chat where he invented a new racial slur.
No, I don't think it was that one.
Okay.
Because there were quite a few mumble chats that happened and that were recorded. So,
The
uh,
fact that he needs to explain this in his comic page says that he assumes everyone else shares this belief as well, despite considering his own judgment infallible as applied as his own to his own work. He forces others to explain the corrections he has made to others. When the Asperpedia 4 used systematic trolling to make Chris kill off the character Simonia, Chris viewed it as a deliberate attack on his fantasy world, Quickville, which had already been Chris's way of retreat from the real world, which had always, oh no, I already read that, had been infiltrated by outside forces and was thus no longer impenetrable. So this is likely why Chris put the comic on hiatus to stop outside forces from causing any more damage.
yeah,
Chris's beliefs
because you
are
know, as a writer, you know, and I'm a writer, Simply Weeb, who is here in chat with us, keeping us company. Thank you so much, my man. Is a writer as well. We can tell you, both of us, that anytime someone says anything about a written work that you're writing, it's just automatically canon, and you have to accept it. Like, for example, I'm about to make up some new Final Fantasy VII canon now. Tifa's my wife in real life. Okay, that's canon now. And Hironobu Sakaguchi, come do something about it. Come tell me it's not true because I said something about it. It's canon. Not sorry.
Chris's beliefs are such that he even claims to hold the distinction of mayor of Quickville in real life. He only admits that Quickville is not real when he intends to pacify others he sees as too slow in the mind to comprehend this
Ah,
idea.
yes, slow in the minds.
Yes, another great slur he invented.
Slow in the minds. I love it. I love it.
He
It's one of
moves
my favorites.
because he has accomplished and produced virtually nothing worthwhile in his life, and he likes to pretend that he has made a positive impact on something, if only on a metaphysical level. In his opinion, anyone who does not accept this worldview is naive, which
Naive.
I'm pretty sure he still doesn't know what that fucking word means.
Probably not.
And on July, it says 23 July 2017. That means it was written by a Britoid. Gross. On
Angloid.
July 2017, the correct way, Chris
Yep.
responded to his true and loyal fan base, who wondered why Chris wouldn't reboot his comics. As a response, Chris explained that if he were to reboot his comics, that would mean the history and the canon would have to start all over again. Wait, so Chris isn't making these anymore?
Uh, no, he's making them. He just won't reboot it. Uh,
And all of the characters.
Simply Weeb says, as a storyteller, I sanction the idea of Billy Mays as mayor of Quickville. Absolutely agree. I would vote for Billy Mays as mayor of Quickville. What do you think? Do you think Billy Mays is a worthy successor to Christian Weston Chandler as
Who would
mayor of
have thought?
Quickville?
Who would have thought Russia would have invaded Quickville before they invaded Ukraine?
It's an excellent point. It's obvious that Quickville holds a lot more strategic advantage to Russia than Ukraine ever did. Not to get too
Yeah,
political, but obviously Quickville is probably one of the most culturally and resource rich areas in the world. So it would make perfect sense why Russia would want to invade Quickville.
I
Anyway,
wonder how they're going to do that in the Quickville cinematic universe.
we'll talk about that next gaming stream.
I wonder why. Okay, they want. All right, they wondered why Chris wouldn't reboot his comics. As a response, oh no, we already read that. And Chris would have to start over from all their original origins. Essentially, he thinks that if he pulls the plug on his Sonic 2 franchise and reboots it, that would mean all of his characters would die and they would somehow reincarnate into their newer, upgraded versions. I believe in this alternate dimensions where each set of all of our animated characters reside and live their lives and continue growing long after the series is finished or stay kids, whatever. Jesus
Oh,
fucking
he said this
God.
to Doopy. This was during the Doopy saga. Holy shit, I remember this. I remember the Doopy do-over thing. That was a fucking mess and a half.
Yes, it was.
Dimensions. Oh no. Oh. Oh. I don't want to do these anymore. They hurt.
They're okay when you got a little booze with you, though.
The moment I brought up the multiverse, he listened. The original idea guy on how he got Chris's attention. Ah, Joshua Wise.
Wise guy.
Wise guy. Chris's belief in alternative dimensions enables him to disconnect from the poor and mundane life he currently resides in and shift responsibility. Oh no, Simply Weeb's dimensional merge time. Yeah, it's dimensional merge time. Yeah, blow it at your ass. You're not here reading it. You're just watching us suffer, you dick. Oh, okay. Shift responsibility over personality flaws to an alternative Chris. It gives him solace to believe that he or other versions of himself exist in other places where he's content, successful, and surrounded by characters and people who love him. The idea guys exploited Chris's nascent beliefs and desires on other dimensions and further shaped them as a part of their cult-like grip over his beliefs. The dimensional merge is Chris's ultimate escapist fantasy, enabling him to think he is powerful, wealthy, with real friends and a happy marriage, all just waiting for him on the other side of the dimensional curtain. A concept originally created by the idea guys and later expanded on by Chris with the help of fantasy enablers. The merge is his hope that the sister dimensions 1218 and C197 will unify, with him overseeing the merge in his role as the goddess CPO Blowheart. The dimension 1218, sometimes referred to as Earth 1218, and is the dimension of reality. The dimension C197 is the designation for Chris's imaginary world, which contains all of his favorite fictional characters and OCs. The merge was originally scheduled to complete by the end of 2018, leaving behind the universe known as, oh my god, 1C211987, with elements of both sister dimensions, and enable Chris to realize his dream of hanging out with
You know,
Sonichu and his pals.
it's kind of incredible he hasn't gotten a fat lawsuit by Disney for doing this shit.
It's incredible that he hasn't had a lawsuit from anybody. Nintendo, Sega, literally everything he's ever ripped off to make his Sonichu comics. I mean, I guess he's not making money off of it, so they don't see it as a threat, and nobody's really seeing Sonichu as a replacement for Sonic or Pikachu, though I would say that Sonichu is pretty on par with Sonic, but Who am I kidding? I just fucking hate Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nah,
So,
there's a difference. Sonic made money. Sonic makes money. That's the difference.
does Sonic make money?
Unfortunately, it does.
Yeah, we'll see how Sonic Frontiers does.
Imaginary friends. Oh my fucking god.
It just gets worse the lower you go on the article. Like as you scroll down, you're
And
like, what the
very
fuck?
soon, my family and I will be able to show ourselves to you. Then you will be taking back all your schizo labels, harumph.
Did he actually type harumph?
Yes, he did. Look,
God, I know. I'm looking right at it.
actually did.
I'm looking right at it, but I still don't believe it.
When I look into the eyes of an original or fictional character, I do not see fiction at all. I see a full living being and individual. That's a fucking typo. I see a friend or lover in few cases. In addition, just a quick bill. Chris's belief in imaginary friends is another major element of escapism, a mix of maladaptive coping and daydreaming.
Cope,
Chris
cope, cope,
believes
cope, cope.
cope and Steve.
Cope and Steve, cope and daydream.
Chris believes that his characters actually exist in both C197 and 1218, and that he can communicate with them via meditation sessions, in reality conflating his inner monologue with imagined visions and voices of his fictional friends. Oh! There are many
Stay
instances of Chris
strong,
trying
trash
to
man. I got you. That's the whiskey talking to you, by the way. You know,
Yeah, I
since
know
since
it is.
we're going into that territory.
I'm
But anyway,
pouring you a virtual cup right now. Let's fucking
I
go.
appreciate it. Thank you.
There are many instances of Chris trying to interact with his imaginary friends over the years, becoming more prevalent over time as his desire for escapism intensifies. Examples including his confrontation with Mary Lee Walsh. Oh my. In
Uh,
2004. His imaginary dance partner in the 2017 BronyCon.
yeah, I
That's
remember that. I remember that.
that's fucking sad, bro. And social media messages near the end of the 2010s, written either from a point of view or of any of his OCs.
So it's funny, right? Growing up, I was in a church group and they would put on like dances. It was really weird, right? Uh, and I would do. You know how Chris was like slow dancing with nothing, right? In that video,
Right?
I would do that like as a joke when they would have slow dances because they would kind of like try to pressure you into like asking people to dance and
Yeah, yeah.
I
But how much you want to bet when they did that shit at a Christian gathering or whatever? They got to keep the Holy Spirit between you and your partner.
oh no, it was exactly like that.
Oh no, yeah,
Exactly like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but I,
That's
I
how it
had
goes.
I had no
Oh my!
partner, but they would like pressure you. They'd be like, "Why didn't you ask anyone to dance?" And I was just like, "Because I don't want to be here." It's like because I hate this and it sucks.
Man, I remember. Oh, this was maybe eighth grade. Um, like I went to a dance, and the person I went with also wanted to go to their school. So, and it was Christian, and they're like, you got to keep the Holy Spirit between. No, it was Catholic. It was a Catholic school, and they're like, you got to keep the Holy Spirit between you, and all this shit. It was so fucking cringe, dude. You don't even understand. But anyway,
I do understand. I
I don't know
understand very
what a
well.
giant like. That was the first and only time I went to a school dance, and it was a fucking joke,
Yeah,
fucking joke. Anyway,
they didn't even have a mosh pit, so I was confused. I was like, I
right.
don't know how to do this.
If it isn't playing this bitch, I don't want to go.
I know, right? Like, are you gonna play some like integrity or something, or am I just gonna sit here and hate every song that plays?
Right. In fall 2017, the Idea Guys role played Chris as Chris's own imaginary friends, giving Chris validation over his pre existing notions and further fueling his maladaptive behavior, such as convincing Chris that his imaginary friends will be united with him in the dimensional merge, and that he is married to several of them in a polyamorous marriage.
Here you go, Chris. Chris overhears a conversation held by his imaginary friend Nightstar, and I love the girl at the side looking at him like, "What the hell is that guy's problem?" Quite
I don't
frankly,
understand.
Sorry,
If
sorry. Go ahead.
Chris wanted to be a woman so goddamn bad, could he dress as like a 60-year-old fucking grandma?
I mean, there are women that dress like that. No cap. But
Right?
anyway, there are women who dress like that in their 20s. So
Yeah, but 99% of women aren't going to do this. 99.
are you telling me you want to see Chris in a tank top and booty shorts? Is that what you want to hear? Is that what you
Am
want to
I
see?
ever-
Is that what you want to see,
No,
Trash Man?
no, no, but
I'm a little
at
concerned.
least, but at least
The
he
girl
has
is
the
all
common
of us watching Chris.
he
Yeah,
has the common decency to not do that
yeah, that's what
because
I'll take.
nobody wants
I'll
to see
take
that.
60-year-old granny over him dressing like he's actually in his like a woman in her 20s. Anyway, quite frankly, I believe you're wasting your time. There are more productive things in life than levitating a pen and putting your energy into those. Magician. Oh, that was not a Chris quote. I'm rolling with it anyway. Magician Uri Geller's advice for Chris, who asked Uri for help training his psychic powers. Not wasting my time, Chris's reply. My neighbors probably think I'm insane. Uh, Chris's habit of magical thinking is another maladaptive coping method, manifesting in delusions of grandeur. Instead of putting an effort to improve his own life, Chris prefers to believe that magic will do it for him, if only that were true. In addition, he believes that magic will allow him to neutralize his perceived enemies. Cwcki.
Yeah.
Yeah. I intend to do a lot more go with my psychic powers to bring peace and take down all of the internet haters and bullies. I need to do all these in my own control. Chris. Good job, Chris. Chris believes he has an array of magic powers. Most notable is the ability to curse his enemies, as well as to undo it. Others include communicating with the dead, brainwashing people, and psychic powers. While most of Chris's superstitions are his own, he also takes part in popular superstitions as well. Autistic people in general tend to be predisposed to wishful and magical thinking and finding superstitions to be comforting. Chris dislikes the number 13 because he thinks it's an unlucky number. What the fuck is that word? I'm not even.
Chris Ecophobia.
We're calling it T-phobia. Because I'm not reading that shit. T-phobia, fear of the number 13, is already a common American superstition, with Microsoft Office notably skipping version 13 during the development of Office 2010. However, Chris's fear of the number 13 had an unusual effect on the numbering of Sonichu comics, where Sonichu number 13 was numbered as Sonichu 12-9, showing his incompetency with either logic or math, where episode 1, One Lucky Dog from Sonichu number 6, was labeled episode 12.5. On Twitter, when going into multi-tweet rants, Chris numbers the tweets. For Twitter messages which exceeded 12 tweets, Chris either replaces the number 13 with a repeated 12 or 12-9. Chris has also shown... No!
No!
No! I can't escape it anywhere! No! No, 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 no. No.
Make it
Chris
stop.
Chris has also shown a belief in astrology. He included he numbers his comics. That's a great. I see he numbers his comic issues like Kingdom Hearts games. That's funny. Very true. I don't even have an argument for that because he's not.
Yeah, but I
wrong.
don't think there's 0.5.
You know, when Kingdom Hearts gets far enough into the series, you're gonna see a 12-9. Guaranteed. Kingdom Hearts 12-9.
When is
Poop
Hearts
drop
next
of
dropping?
poop heart drops on the. I don't fucking know. I ran out of the joke. I'm just gonna keep going. He included his and Sarah Hammer's zodiac signs in the life shares, and in his OkCupid profile, he wrote about his sign. Pisces, it's fun to think about. He wrote to Jessica Quinn, I'm emotion prone and tend to do as I feel, and life flows. I like the Pisces I was born under. Oh, he has the same sign as me. I don't know why I'm ashamed of that. Astrology's bullshit, but still. One of the quotes on his first Facebook was, I was born under the sign of Pisces, the sign of the provider. I am fully capable of providing the necessities and then some for the lucky woman who loves me and becomes my true sweetheart. I feel like my Chris impression is starting to degenerate to the point where I'm starting to sound like
You
more
know,
and more like
at
Chris.
least not a Gemini like me.
Yeah. His belief in star signs may explain why he holds such a high significance to his birthday. Also because it's his birthday and he's a narcissist, but Chris places significance on his birthstone, which he calls Amnifest. He believes the class ring with the stone is what gives him power and even pointed it out to Emily on their date. More recently, he has attached an amethyst quartz to his medallion. Emily, that poor girl.
Now we got in the real world
Oh,
science and
dude. We're so close to the end.
I do not even know of the symptoms because again, if I literally overthought about it, I would be at greater risk of infecting myself from reading and repeating the list in my mind. It's neurotypical and idiotic for anyone to do that and overthink it.
Simply,
Chris by staying
simply Weeb in
ignorant.
chat says sign of the provider. Well, at least he provides all this lore. That's that. He did provide. He was right. He provided us with a whole wiki's worth of information about his life.
Chris seems completely unaware of what current technology is and is not capable of. In his Sonichu article on the Cwckipedia, he suggests that Nintendo pour their research into developing a Pokeball peripheral that would have the slots for every generation of Pokemon game. That's not even okay. That's not the worst idea ever, but like, whatever. Fuck you. It's Chris Chan. It's wrong, including including a slot for the GameCube memory card. No one is gonna fucking use that though.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous to try.
Now, I would understand if it made it go back to the 3DS era of games, I guess, because that's not too
But
far
this
from.
wasn't the 3DS era. This was the Wikipedia, which means this was written in the 2000s.
Okay, yeah, but say if they did that now with the Switch Pokemon games, and then they did it with, it could make you go back and get your Pokemon from the 3DS games. I could see that working, but
See,
back then
yeah.
that was an idea.
Yeah, back then it was a completely asinine thing to suggest.
Yes. He expects users of this peripheral to be able to read party data from the inserted game/memory card, display a holographic image of the Pokemon in play, and challenge people in real life who own the same peripheral in a manner much like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, you were saying? Yeah.
And Chris had no idea how everyday machines such as cars work. Evidence in how he claimed that a 1997 Cadillac with a cracked engine block was a great fixer-upper. Normally, any serious physical damage to a car's engine can only be repaired by a very skilled mechanic, or cannot be repaired at all, and one must buy a new engine, both of which are not cheap. But that's an entirely different problem. Chris has also been shown to lack knowledge in basic pathology. When he contracted a cold in December 2009, he had misattributed it to the large-scale triggering he got from a number of people on Twitter.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay,
That's
now we got social rules.
okay. Chris also obsesses over popular rules about relationships. He's held on to the idea that sex should be given on the third date, as well as other overly generic dating advice. Other quote-unquote rules Chris has culled from pop culture include superficial platitudes about decency, often expecting them to be valid in situations concerning others he has wronged. To name a specific example, besides emphatically claiming to be true and honest and giving others forgive and forget, Chris once openly expressed a belief that learning morals about love and friendship from franchises like My Little Pony and Care Bears can prevent war. Woefully unaware that the real world human beings are many times more complex than what is portrayed in a cartoon for young children. Yeah, you fucking think?
Uh,
Oh
now
my
we've got
god.
conspiracy theories. Oh yes. I bet even Green County had something to do with influencing that goddamn Michael Snyder to
Michael
make him pretend-
Snyder!
to
My boy!
have make him pretend he had a reason to kick me out. Chris blaming his school board for a decision made by a game store manager. Chris and his parents have come up with several conspiracy theories to explain away his life problems. Notable examples are Chris blaming the elementary school for keeping him in his autistic shell, his parents' notion that Michael Snyder and Megan Schroeder were masterminds behind the trolls, and
Man,
Chris's
poor
belief
Megan, dude.
Snyder
Megan,
caused his own injuries when Chris and his mother hit him with their car.
poor Megan, dude. Megan, ah, yes. If only Russia had just watched My Little Pony and Care Bears. That's funny. Poor Megan, man.
Estimate
She did not deserve any of the shit
a
that
car
happened.
weighs a lot more than 10 tons. Chris being unaware that most cars weigh 2 or 3 tons.
Dude,
Jeez.
hold on about Megan though, right? Can you think about like the fact that being harassed, right? Being harassed is what caused her to supposedly create a trolling op, like a massive scale trolling op. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like you wouldn't go and fuck with somebody that you wish would leave you alone.
Chris has a tendency to hugely exaggerate estimates of length, weight, and strength in his favor. This is not common in just autistic people. A lot of people do this.
Yeah.
As evidence his description of a 12-pack lemonade as 12-pack of lemonade being 50 pounds. It's more like maybe 10 at most. This behavior is systematic of dyscalculia, a common
Dyscalculia.
autism, which leaves the sufferer with poor comprehension of time, measurement, or spatial reasoning. However, Chris does not really display any other symptoms of it, suggesting this behavior isn't mere ignorance, but rather Chris telling childish lies to try to impress people with his physical strength. Lack of theory in mind. Chris has no idea how the billions of people on the planet think. He thinks that all men would happily wear bras and skirts. It must be noted that Chris thought that these ideas so that he and he alone would feel more comfortable cross-dressing, and that every Sonic fan on the planet would support him in his Sonic Boom protests. Oh, when someone
Sonic's
informs him
arms
that
are not blue.
when somebody informs him that they have a differing opinion to him, he throws a tantrum and denounces that person as a troll. While autistic people have long been stereotyped as lacking theory of mind, research into the double empathy problem proves that they don't necessarily lack it, though Chris definitely does. His actions speak for little, if any.
Narcissistic tendencies. Examples of Chris's ego is an article. Is it just Chris and his... Oh, there's actually an examples article. Chris automatically assumes his lies will be believed, even if they contradict existing information. This is copiously evidenced in his constant lies during the father call, which I believe references Casey's father, Matthew, or rather her fake father, wherein Chris fibs incessantly about his health, among other things. Frequently denying things or changing his story whenever he gets caught. His habit of lying and lying about his lies is likely inherited from his mother, whom his brother described as a pathological liar. When asked by Evan to remove Simonla from his comics, Chris decided that he could have created her without the inspiration of Evan's character, Simon Chu, and thus effectively had. The fact that he demonstrably could not have done this did not factor into Chris's reasoning. Chris corrected Simonla's Wikipedia entry with a retraction, denying that Simonla had ever been inspired by Simonchu. Of course he did. Chris expected that his revised version of the truth would be happily accepted by all concerned parties. In addition to lies, Chris expects any so-called apology will immediately change the mind of any perceived enemy of his, and everything will be sunshine and rainbows for him again. He has done this many times before, but almost always not working out in his favor, especially considering his self-centered temperament and generally nonchalant disregard for social etiquette are often what get him in trouble in the first place. Later on, he opted for a different approach in the form of contracts. In addition to unwittingly invalidating his own contract with the stipulation that store managers cannot hand him over to the police, he proclaimed refusal to let any individual with a history of belligerent or disruptive behavior run amok in a retail setting would prove a manager to be most uncompassionate and lacking of heart and soul. Even accusing them of potential discrimination simply because he identifies as an LGBT person. No comment. Chris considers people with Asperger's syndrome to be fakers who are taking the shine and limelight away from genuine autistic people such as himself. Although Chris has admitted this fact is only his own idea, he still believes that to think otherwise is to conform to blasphemy. As with many other things which antagonize him, Chris simply assumes Asperger's to be significant of a conspiracy targeting himself. Unsurprisingly, Chris can come across as highly delusional when he expects to be taken seriously. For example, on April 28, 2012, he made an empty threat to the Kiwi Farms about hunting down each of its members. He claimed to know where each of them lives in an attempt to intimidate the trolls. Even if one were to gloss over the fact that he wouldn't even cough up $800 to travel to Redmond to see his dreams come true, and it should be noted that there are trolls all over America and indeed the world, there's a high chance that there will only be one outcome of Chris actively pursuing trolls with the purpose of doing harm. All things considered, Chris ended up making himself more of a laughingstock in the process. Like many of his worst flaws, this contributed to the biggest mess Chris had ever gotten himself into. In July of 2021, Chris felt a need to confide in someone that he was shagging his elderly mom. Shagging. British. Gross. Also, the other thing, gross. After previously lying that he was with an anonymous older woman. For this, he chose Bella, foolishly thinking he could trust her to keep the details secret. Despite Chris confessing to the illegal act of incest and having been informed by Null she's an obvious troll, and that he had suffered the consequences of oversharing personal information multiple times for years, needless to say, this caused a ruckus that ultimately led to Chris getting arrested.
I think we should talk about Bella.
That's another time. I think we should do Sockness and call it. That's what I think.
Yes. Because we're getting deeper into the rabbit hole. I think we should save Bella towards the end because she is more towards
That's what I'm saying. So
the end, personally.
Jacob Sockness, it's your turn now because I finished off that article.
All right. Stop with the sex obsessions already. Seriously. Please, Chris. July 1st, 2020. Criticizing Sockness for his creepy behavior after a year of it. I can't blame him for that, honestly.
No, Sockness is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really blame Chris for saying that. I really can't.
Yeah, when it comes to Sockness, I'm a bit more sympathetic to Chris.
Yes. Jacob Sockness is an amateur sorcerer and conspiracy theorist from San Francisco, California, who attempted to manipulate Chris into a relationship, notably by exploiting his fantasy world and tricking Chris into believing his imaginary friend approved of the idea. Prior to Sockness' interactions, the idea guys had brainwashed Chris
Yes.
into identifying as a bisexual, which enabled Sockness to try to become Chris's first real-world male sweetheart, which ultimately failed.
Bold.
Sockness
Look at that sexy man, by the way. Look at him.
Sigma fucking male.
Sigma.
This man took the red pill and the blue pill, and now he's stuck in Roku City.
That's right.
All right, I gotta pour another drink. Okay.
I got you.
Hang on.
Sockness emerged in mid-2018 and was most active between July and November of 2019. I watched this happen in real time, and it was hilarious and disturbing.
Very disturbing.
He has the dubious honor of embodying every single aspect of the Unholy Quintet over the course of his years interacting with Chris. Sockness is a white knight turned enabler turned carpetbagger turned ween turned A-log. He has similarities to Chris, such as being autistic, non-gender conforming, receiving a monthly tugboat, believing to be a god, thinks he has magical powers, and has built an elaborate fantasy universe into which he has appropriated Sonichu characters with over a dozen installments that he believes really exists. This guy is basically Chris too. While he at first was seemingly just another troll, notable for his erotic disposition towards Chris, Sockness became openly malicious after establishing direct contact with Chris.
But all this was going down, I thought that whole erotic aspect of him wanting to literally be with Chris was a joke.
He just wanted to point Chris. It's just how it was. He just wanted to point Chris. In mid-2019, Sockness gained influence over Chris by offering to work together financially following Chris's June 2019 ban from eBay. He then achieved a considerable influence over Chris's fantasy world, as seen in Sonichu number 14. Most of his courting and enabling has been through Twitter, though he also promoted himself through Reddit, YouTube, and even Kiwi Farms. I forgot, yeah, Sockness did have a Kiwi Farms account. For months, Sockness tried to manipulate Chris into meeting in person to onlookers' alarm. Yet when Sockness finally set out to travel cross-country to 14 Branchland Court in late September 2019, Chris rebuffed these efforts with the help of the Watchmen. Rehabilitation attempts over the following 2 months, at one point even going so far as manipulating Chris into mutual flirting, could not ultimately repair their broken relationship, and by the end of November 2019, they rejected each other again. Sockness was nevertheless persistent, and by March 2020, briefly had a toe in Chris's door once again. Chris and Jacob's relationship came to a permanent end in August 2020, after Jacob claimed that Mia Hamm had a child with Chris.
Oh no!
Mia Hamm was the prostitute, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, poor fucking girl, dude.
Oh my, yeah. Oh my.
That's another story for another time.
Oh,
we might have to do this shit on BitChute if it goes too far, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, it's your turn.
Jacob was discovered by chance by Kiwi Farms user Neural while observing the many users surrounding Chris's Twitter post. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that he had a Kiwi Farms account under the name of Jacob JS. It was in his profile picture he accidentally doxed himself by linking to his Facebook and Tumblr that revealed his personal information. As he exposed himself on the forums, Sockness, like Michael Hurtis, is considered to be a halal lolcow. What the fuck does that mean?
I'm not exactly sure, but I'll figure it out.
Like many of Chris's orbiters, Sockness is a furry, awesome, and lives in subsidized housing with a tugboat. He has a very low view of black people, describing them as beastly and hypersexual, believing that their race can only rape because that is their way of reproduction in a natural set. That Jesus fucking Christ.
We are never getting monetized.
No,
but
we're reading something for literally what it is. We're not actually like outright, saying it.
Oh yeah, but we are never getting monetized. Keep going.
Unlike the idea guys who inserted such themes in the Chris's mind for their own amusement, Jacob seems to be genuine. Sockness has been demonstrated to control several sock puppets that he has used to white knight and converse with himself, like Chris's similar past attempts to cover himself. Historians could not discern the true motivations behind Sockness's behavior. For a while, Jacob appeared to be the first true and honest believer in Sonichu and the dimensional merge after Chris, setting him apart from the various trolls professing to protect Chris and the many previous imitators of the idea guys pretending to belong in Chris's abortive cult. Over the months, evidence gradually came to light that indicated that Jacob's feelings were not in earnest. In November 2018, Sockness admitted that he did not seriously believe in the dimensional merge. When Chris allowed Jacob access to his Twitter account, why the fuck would you do that?
Because Chris is stupid. I don't
He
want to be
boasted.
like I don't want to be like Dylan Thomas, where I'm like, fuck Chris, I hate Chris, but like, he is kind of dumb.
He boasted about it on Reddit, even claiming that his sexual attraction to Chris was a facade. On the 21st of September 2019, when a concerned onlooker tried to warn Chris that Sockness was tantamount to an autistic idea guy, literally,
Yeah.
Sockness embraced the charges of manipulation, justifying his action as protecting Chris from trolls.
The sacred shoes have samples of cat and doggy DNA. Looking for the treasures of heaven. A single hair from Christine's head put into an amulet of serious power to manifest one's dreams. This is a divine experience. Sockness.
Oh my god. Old Cwcki had his own problems, dude.
Sockness has spent hundreds buying items from Chris's eBay, notably buying his old shoes for worship purposes. Chris blocked him on Twitter on the 31st of January 2019, and by May 22nd, 2019, Jacob's YouTube channel was terminated, and his Twitter account disappeared. Oh, there's a video of him with Chris's old shoes. Still, this was not the end of Sockness' involvement with Chris. Jacob then created a new Twitter account named Cwcki on July 11th, 2019, while Chris was trying to raise funds for a hotel room at the 2019 BronyCon. A troll, Sonichu Merch, told Chris that Sockness might be interested in
No!
2019, this was right around the time the Belle Delphine thing happened. In buying his bathwater, Chris saw dollar signs and followed Sockness. The Sonichu merch guy told Chris I was interested in buying some bathwater. This guy doesn't know I have no money to buy it due to issues with Social Security in May. Even if I had the money, Chris has to follow some exact rules to creating what I need from him. I need him to make and bless some holy water with his
juices.
No, I read it. That's why I stopped.
Man, what the fuck was going on in 2019 with the fucking bathwater shit? What the fuck? Like, and
it all started with Belle Delphine, man, and then it almost became Christian.
We don't know.
Christian was gonna Christian was gonna sell autistic man-child bathwater, not like gamer girl bathwater. No, it's a lot dirtier.
I don't know. I'm still convinced the gamer girl bathwater is probably pretty rancid though.
Yeah, but can you imagine Chris Chan's bathwater?
I'd rather drink Egger Clear.
Yeah.
You know what that is, don't you? You take a shot of Everclear with a fucking egg inside of it.
Yep. His juice. Yeah, Simply Weave is just as traumatized as I am. Trash Man, can you take this next one? I need some recovery time. That was fucking... I almost had to read that out loud.
After establishing a direct communication with Chris, Sockness tweeted that he would open a vendor account on eBay for Chris, acting as a warehouse, clearinghouse, and middleman. Chris responded with gratitude. The next day, Chris retweeted a GoFundMe campaign by Sockness to raise $300, nominally as a shipping fund. As of September 2019, Sockness had failed to restore Chris's access to eBay, which would have been prohibited at any rate. Sockness has continued to set up GoFundMe pages for Chris's incidental expenses, such as when his car broke down and needed $1,000 worth of repairs. Once Chris had his foot in the door, he began talking about his alternate fantasy dimensions, further enabling Chris. Firstly and mainly, I am not under anyone's control. And second, I still support the Rocat and all the good peoples in Andromeda. I need to meditate further for more sound responses and thoughts. For now, I will simply state that your research is valuable. Indeed. Going silent. Chris, addressing Sockness. He believes he is not under anyone's control while parroting Sockness' lore.
Yeah, Rocat, bro. It's canon to Sonichu.
Chris featured Jacoba, whatever.
Jacoba is
And OC created by Yacht Sockness. And Sonichu 14, as Sockness put it, she drew Jacoba from one of mine when her CPU pals wanted to see the Rocat. For most of summer 2019, the two interacted relatively little, though other weens tried to push them closer together, because of course they did. And in August 2019, Chris, through his Maggie Chan sock puppet on Twitter, naively dismissed Sockness's violent inclinations and approved of Sockness coming to visit.
oh, how much more of this is there? It's a bit shorter. Thank God. That was a lot. That took way more out of me than I expected. Oh,
Fuck.
subsequent interactions in Virginia trip. On September 7th, 2019, Sockness released a fabricated conversation between himself and Magichan from May 2019, in which he declared that he and Chris would need to meet in person and marry for the dimensional merge to proceed, though Chris affirmed thereafter that the counterfeit dialogue was trustworthy and begged for the funding to travel to California. He changed tactics within a few days on Twitter, stating on Twitter that Chris in Magichan's body had arrived on the west coast from behind the dimensional curtain, while Chris's body was safely in Virginia. Nevertheless, Chris remained interested in Sockness coming to visit him at home. Great idea, Chris.
Awesome.
As autumn 29... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
As autumn 2019 began, months of casual online role-playing came to a head. On September 24th, I'm not reading it like a fucking Britoid, Sockness reported that he had brought train tickets to make a transcontinental trip to Chris. He made clear that his intent was both sexual and violent on Reddit, comparing his plans to Chris for Chris's rear to meet Germany's devastation by Allied bombings, despite being physically incapable of such a feat. However, only a day later, Chris posted a statement on Twitter along with a short audio clip. Chris releases a statement regarding Sockness, indicating his desire for Sockness to return home after Sockness had left for Virginia, and saying that somebody in Chicago would provide him with a return ticket. It seemed that Chris had a moment of clarity long enough to realize the magnitude of what was going to happen. He elaborated on his decisions a day later, including a statement from one of Jacob's imaginary gods, Michiro. In his statement, Chris cited his health as unconducive to having guests, and that Jacob had gone down the path of evil. Chris had also said that he foresaw that he and Jacob would end up in a similar situation to how Chris and Cole Smithy are, which is his half-brother. Yes. On 26th September, Sockness admitted defeat, tweeting that his involvement with the dimensional merge has ended in failure and that he would delete his Twitter account upon returning home. Chris confirmed that Sockness had turned back the next day. In a poorly thought-out attempt to save face, Sockness later claimed that the train ticket was his own forgery and that the entire Virginia trip was a sham.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
I don't believe that. I think it was real. Failed romance. Despite spending over $1,500 through the course of his failed bid for Chris's attention, Sockness remained determined to win his prize at the end, and managed to slither back into Chris's inner circle of orbiters despite his dangerous behavior. He apologized for his emotional outbursts to reconcile with Chris, and had indicated that he wishes to try visiting Chris again at some indeterminate time in the future. Well, that's not going to happen. Making sure to bring a mutual friend along with him. I don't like where that would go. When Chris declared on September 28th his wish to attend BabsCon, a My Little Pony convention, god damn, I speak English, I swear to God, then scheduled for April 2020 just outside San Francisco, Sockness consoled himself that he would see Chris in person after all. However, they did not converse again for over 2 weeks after this. Halfway through October 2019, Sockness entered the picture again. On the 12th of October, Chris whined on Twitter about complaints from customers regarding the Patreon books they had not received. Sockness, sensing an opportunity to regain access to Chris, discussed the matter with him, and then announced, with his approval, that he would be taking over management of the Patreon's financing, ostensibly to help in a similar move to his managing Chris's eBay several months earlier. Emboldened, Sockness proclaimed on the 16th of October that he would fly to Virginia sometime about Halloween. He promptly resumed hitting on Chris over Twitter, with Chris playing into it. On October 19th, Sockness, commenting on a video clip of cosplayers kissing, said, "How about it, love?" Ew. 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 Gross. Ugh. To which Chris answered, "I'm not going to cosplay as Deadpool or a zombie, but we can kiss it." Ugh.
No!
Ugh. 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 Halloween 2019 came and went with no indication that Sockness had flown to Virginia as he said he would. Shifting tactics, Sockness determined to cordon Chris off from other social interactions, establishing himself as the only one Chris could trust. On November 3rd, 2019, he managed to sour Chris's opinion of Null. Later that week, Sockness allied with newly returned Sarah and Steve in Byzantine Twitter dialogues defending Chris against other enablers who sought to gain influence over him. Among his many attempts to suppress rivals, Sockness harassed MKR in direct messages, further seeking to cut Chris off from other contacts, including those who genuinely meant him well, the guard dogs. Sockness created a list of various Cwcki farms and Twitter users he deemed untrustworthy for criticizing his bid for control. Why is this a thing? I have no idea. I don't
Now,
know.
Jacob as a danger to Chris.
Oh, we don't have much longer. Thank God.
No, I'm about fucking done here, bro.
Yeah, me
Jacob
too.
clearly unstable with psychopathic tendencies, you think? In his own mythos, he is the prophet of the god of war and death, Jacoba. It is telling that Jacob named a death god after himself. His books contain many references to himself as an evil entity, most bluntly put in Celestial Studies, where he says, "Our job is to consume human flesh."
What's
In
he writing?
addition to
Death metal lyrics?
I don't know. In addition to this, a lot of his books contain rituals. Most have graphic descriptions, all of which are made to kill people in cruel and unusual ways. In a 2018 interview, he says that he uses these rituals to kill homeless people when he's bored. Also, in that interview, he says in no uncertain terms that he would rape Chris. I shouldn't have said that word. Chris, if his advances are refused.
Oh.
It is clear if what he says really happens. What matters is that Jacob thinks that he's killing the homeless and summoning, they said demons the fancy way, daimons,
Yeah.
which is just bad. Chris tries to hand wave these glaring faults in Jacob's online persona by saying everything bad Jacob has done. He did because he was possessed by Jacoba. Despite Jacob saying that it is impossible for Jacoba to possess him, Jacob claims that Jacoba is responsible for the red tape preventing the merge and tries to hold it hostage, claiming that it will only happen once he has sex with Chris or if they sacrifice a small child. Although it is not known for certain what would happen if Jacob and Chris met, it would certainly not be good. And we got the friend zoning and the second estrangement.
Oh.
Dude, I'm starting to get a little plastered here. I'm about to give up.
You know, I think it might be best if we just left it here. It is past midnight. Uh,
Yeah.
you know what, folks? Yeah, I'm done for tonight. I don't want to read anymore. Uh, have a good night, everybody. Uh, more on the
Yeah.
way from Curbstomp soon, and check out our newest release from God's Hooks. Charles Manson's "Look at Your Game Girl." They covered it. I covered it. I sang on it. Very good. I had a great time.